there's no tomorrow. I will let loose, I'll be free. Got my whole life, it's been on my mind. I know exactly what I need to start this fire. It's the time and place so many know. It's a place many will go. Just try it once and you can disappear. If you're ready, I'm able. Dark night, waiting for my life to unfold. There's a sharp knife penetrating my soul. It's like a dark night, waiting for my life to unfold. Hey! your best self and ride the waves. Alright, breathe into life. Think you got a shot, don't stop, just fire away. Alright, breathe into life. And if you're feeling good vibes, find your best self and ride the waves. Alright, breathe into life. Think you got a shot, don't stop, just fire away. Alright, breathe into life. And if you're feeling good vibes, find your best self and ride the waves. Alright, breathe into life. Time after time I question myself. This is not what it seems. Day after day I try to believe. Seems like I'm living a dream. Sometimes it makes me wonder, is there a door that's open? Take a chance and see, can you believe? It's time to live and see the light. Take the time to fight and do what's right. Gotta take it on one step at a time. I'm gonna open my eyes to a brand new day. 'Cause I'm here to stay. Temptation, it lies beside me. Today's a give and take. Thoughts tend to spin, make me so crazy. Why did I do this again? Sometimes it makes me wonder, is there a door still open? I can't wait any longer. Do you believe? It's time to live and see the light. Take the time to fight and do what's right. Gotta take it on one step at a time. I'm gonna open my eyes to a brand new day. 'Cause I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay. Oh.
Hello and welcome to the Oakwood. What a glorious, glorious day for some FA Cup action, and who knows, maybe just a cup upset as well. It's the fifth round of the competition and Charlton host FA Women's Super League side Everton, looking to secure a place in the quarter-finals, which is the stage of the competition the Addicks were knocked out of last season but played this campaign due to the coronavirus pandemic. Manager Karen Hills knows a thing or two about playing in a Charlton shirt and lifting this very trophy too. She was a part of the squad who beat today's visitors back in 2005. Everton, a really tough opponent, not enjoying maybe the best season in the FA Women's Super League, but have international talent aplenty and will look to build upon their 4-0 victory in this competition against Huddersfield. And it is a competition that has served Everton very well in the past. They won the FA Cup back in 2009 and 2010 season, and we'll look perhaps for a positive from what has been a tough campaign. It is a beautiful day and the teams are making their way onto the pitch, which gives me enough time to talk you through the starting 11s in both camps. Charlton haven't played for 2 weeks courtesy of the international break, and Karen Hills has made 4 changes to her starting 11. Into the side are skipper Lauren Brutton, Megan Wynne, Beth Rowe and Mia Ross. Lois Roach misses out through injury, whilst Elise Hughes and Lois Hucan drop to the bench, and Ella Rutherford is not a part of today's squad. We are expecting the Addicks to line up in their traditional 4-2-3-1 formation, with Eartha Cummins in goal, with a back 4 of Beth Rowe, Anna Philby, Hannah Godfrey and Georgia Fox, protected and shielded by Kira Skills and Nia Ross, with Megan Wynne, Lauren Brutton, Alicia Solola playing just behind Katie Robinson, who scored in the last round that 6-0 thumping away at Plymouth Argyle. Charlton have yet to concede in this competition. As I mentioned, that really impressive victory away at Plymouth. Before that, a sort of local affair between Charlton and Gillingham, which the Addicks nudged 1-0. It's nice to be back on home turf and welcoming a side with the pedigree of Everton. Their starting 11 is frightening in terms of talent. Lining up for the visitors today, Sandy McKeever in goal, and she has again a fantastic reputation in this competition. Pulled off some heroics despite Everton losing at Wembley against Arsenal. In defence, we are expecting Danielle Turner, Gabby George and Megan Finnegan. Kanza Dadali, Lucy Graham, Leonie Mayer, Aurora Ghali are also featuring, with Izzy Christensen skipper in the side, the England international, alongside Tony Duggan, who is known across Europe for the goals that she can score. Completing the lineup is perhaps one of the most exciting prospects in European football, the Swedish forward Hannah Bennison. We can see the Charlton team getting into a huddle. I'm sure the adrenaline is pumping, maybe a little bit of nerves too, but that is a really good sign going into a really, really important game, and an opportunity for Charlton to mark themselves up against a team in a higher division. The Addicks currently sit third in the Championship, just behind London City Lionesses, and at the top of the tree, Liverpool, who have a substantial lead on the rest of the division. But Karen Hills said in the week that she's been impressed with the team in training. As I mentioned, they've come back from that international break, 8 Addicks away on international duty, and she said she just wants to put on a good contest for those that have come down to the Oakwood and those of you tuned in on Charlton TV or via YouTube. And it's a good marker to see how far away we are from that step up into the pyramid. The skipper Lauren Brutton, how good is it to see her in a Charlton shirt after those injury woes? She's been working really, really hard in her rehabilitation. I spoke to her in the week and she said these are the kind of games that you want to be a part of, especially with the timing of Charlton being on an absolutely fantastic run. 10 games unbeaten. Lauren did admit the team was slightly disappointed not to pick up 3 points away at Coventry, a 1-1 draw there, but nevertheless, sometimes if you're not playing your best but you can still come away with a productive result, a point on the board, that's nothing to be sniffed at. Tony Duggan, the Lioness, stands over the ball, ready to kickstart proceedings for us this afternoon. Oh, as soon as I say that, she's changed her mind. a really great opportunity for us to watch some of the really, really talented footballers across our domestic pyramid, and Charlton might be able to cause a headline or two at home, finally in the FA Cup. A slight false start there as the players take a knee in solidarity with the fight against racism. We'll just have to retrieve the ball, get it back on that centre spot and finally get started. Referee David Lamport blows his whistle and we're off. Let's see where this 90 minutes takes us, shall we? The sun is shining on the Oakwood and it's fantastic to see so many supporters coming down to cheer on Charlton. And we mentioned Karen Hills has made a number of changes to the team. The experience of skipper Lauren Brutton, Megan Wynne will probably help this young, talented Addicks side as Tony Duggan looks to get a touch on the ball over in the left-hand corner. She's shadowed by Anna Philby. Philby having a fantastic season, a rock in the Charlton defence, and a real contributing factor to the fantastic number of clean sheets that the Addicks have accumulated so far this season. Before that goal away at Coventry a couple of weeks ago, Charlton had gone 862 minutes without conceding. That defensive solidarity is going to be really important against Everton today. As you mentioned, the talent they've got in their team. Danielle Turner feeds the ball to Kenza Dali. It's a shot on target, but Urfa Cummins sees it all the way and gathers the ball.
Please get the mic a bit away.
Cummins will be buoyed and full of confidence after her travels with Scotland, making her first senior debut. Not only did she keep a clean sheet, but she became the penalty hero as well to help Scotland. Composure there from Hannah Godfrey, trying to search a long ball forwards, which Brutton will chase down, but it dribbles out, and Gabby George, the Manchester United C of E graduate, sees that out easily. George, one of the many talented players in this Everton team, and what is striking when you look at the Everton starting 11 is the number of players, George being an exception, that have come through the ranks at Everton, or players like Christensen and Duggan, who enjoyed spells at the club and then came back for a second time around. It tells you about the culture that Everton have built at their football club, very, very highly regarded across the women's game, and went fully pro in 2020, very similar to Charlton, and Charlton still are one of the few teams in the Championship that have that full-time model. And it's something that the club can take great pride in, that equal opportunity to not only facilities, but that model of being in training full-time. And they would have been working very, very hard on the training ground this week and wanting to do better in those dead ball scenarios. A poor delivery there, it gives Everton possession, and Lucy Graham is able to charge forward. She's fouled. It's an easy decision for the referee, and now Charlton just have to organise, keep that defensive shape as the ball is played quickly from Turner to Graham. Ball played out to that left-hand side, back to Turner as Everton look to expand the game, but that good close press there from Beth Rowe puts Everton under pressure, and although they're enjoying the ball, they aren't getting it into the final attacking third. As you can see, Charlton getting bodies behind the ball, making it difficult for Everton to find a means. As Turner has the ball back at her feet once more. Her and Graham exchanging plenty of passes in this early phase. It's just intensifying the press there, forcing Everton to play back. Charlton just looking to try and pinch possession, which is exactly what they've done there. Win tees up, it's a shot on target, and that's ever so close for Charlton there. Fantastic counter-attacking, picking up that press, then ensnaring the trap, and Beth Rowe was able to get in on goal and launch the shot as well. Warning signs from Charlton, and already perhaps we're seeing that game plan from Karen Hills of what they're looking to do this afternoon. Win curls the ball to Ross. Ross taking the gamble. Robinson, my apologies. Robinson taking the gamble. And Katie Robinson, a young player who has been backed by Karen Hills to make a difference and getting these first 2 minutes under her belt. She's scored in the last round of the competition and she'll be looking to carve out more opportunities like that one. Over on that left-hand side now, Charlton charging forward. There's space to be run into. Robinson offers, turns her back to goal, keeps the possession. There's a bit of space there, but she squares the ball to Beth Rowe. Rowe and Wynn with a lovely little combination on the right-hand side. Rowe just shields the ball. Wynn not offside, crosses the ball, and it will be cleared by George. Better from Charlton now in the attacking third of the pitch. Alicia Salola does well there to keep the ball. The referee getting in the way. We don't need that, thanks, ref. Alicia Salola there showing the physical side of her game as well as being an extremely gifted technical player. She can fight and scrap in the heart of midfield as well for Charlton, which is an asset you need week in, week out in a very tough division, and then of course in competitions like this. And the FA Cup is such a special competition, especially when you are a Charlton supporter. And our history in the competition dates back to 2000 when Charlton formed as Croydon came under the club's umbrella. They'd won the league and the FA Cup that year. Fast forward to 2003 and 10,000 supporters and over 2 million viewers on the BBC watched Charlton take on Fulham, who were chasing the treble at the time. And unfortunately it wasn't the best day out for the Addicks. They lost 3-0, but that was a marker in how far the game has come on from then. All the games that we see on TV, the coverage like this, thank you so much for joining us on Charlton TV or on YouTube. Wherever you are, we hope that you're enjoying this coverage, and the support means a lot to the team. You can connect with us on the socials as well. We'd love to see where you're tuned in from and maybe give a shout out to any players that you're following. And of course, if you're an Everton supporter, you're most welcome as well. You might find our coverage is slightly favoured to the home team, of course, but it's a pleasure to have you with us today as well. As I mentioned, it's not just Charlton with the great history in this competition. Everton as well, finalists a number of times, have lifted this trophy. And potentially this is a competition for them to find a little bit of joy from in a tough year. They're at the wrong end of the FA Women's Super League, although they do have a 7-point cushion on Birmingham, who look set for relegation. They've won 3 times this season in the division, drawn twice and lost 8 times, losing 4 on the bounce. They'll be looking to break that run of games at the Oakwood today. Chris Roberts is the interim manager, and he made clear today that it was down to Everton to manage the game and that they wanted to gain momentum and stamp authority early on here. But with 8 minutes on the clock, it's been a very even encounter. You get the feeling that both teams are just sussing each other out. Not too much for either goalkeeper to do, although Katie Robinson did get that shot away that just skimmed to the right-hand side of McGeever in the Everton goal. The goal kick punted forwards. Skills rises highest and gets the touch. It's getting a little bit scrappy in that middle third, but Everton win the throw-in. It's going to be taken by Turner, who is a product of the Centre of Excellence. It's been club captain for Everton and even played a bit of football in Iceland as well. A really interesting player. Lauren Brutton there trying to drive forward for Charlton. She wins back possession. It's a hooked ball and it will just go over the top. Too much for Wynn to latch onto there. Wynn coming back from her international duties, travelled to Spain to be a part of the Donata Cup for Wales alongside her Charlton teammates Elise Hughes and Anna Philby. She's got some minutes away from them and she can be a real live wire on the wing for Charlton. She's got pace and a real eye for goal. She can pick out a pass as well. Charlton pushing bodies forward for this throw-in. And it will be Wynne that tries to get the ball. She doesn't initially, but Brutton picks up play. That's a lovely ball through to Rowe. Can Rowe navigate some space and charge towards the penalty box? Instead, she plays it back to Wynne. Wynne with a good crossing. Forces Everton into some defensive duties here if Charlton can look to sustain this pressure. Tony Duggan dropping deep to try and win Everton back the ball. But Charlton enjoying a nice little spell here at the Oakwood. 10 minutes played, it's Charlton 0, Everton 0 in the 5th round of the FA Cup. Competition that Chelsea won last season. They've put their name into the hat for the quarter-final draw. A very, very impressive victory against Leicester for them. And there is FA Cup action happening today. Liverpool are taking on Arsenal. And we will keep an eye on those results and keep you updated as well. But our main focus of concern, of course, is the tie that is unfolding before us. The referee blows up for a foul. As Megan Wynne is just going to get her talking to there. A physical challenge. Nothing too sinister in it, but enough just for a quick chat with the referee. Wondered whether then Everton would take the opportunity to play the ball forwards. Instead, though, they've passed it back. And as we're so used to seeing now in the modern game, centre backs that are ball players, happy to drive forward, which is exactly what George has done there, feeding the ball to Graham, and it's intercepted in midfield. Long ball play forward, perhaps a little bit more composure required from Charlton there. It's really going to be important that they pick up possession in the middle of the pitch and can counter-attack with the pace that they've got up top. But just getting the accuracy in the passing will be something that they look to improve upon as the game goes on. 2 weeks without a game, it takes a little while, I think, to get back into that match tempo. A long ball forwards is intercepted once again by Charlton. Playing it through the thirds now, Wynne plays it back, and then it's a ball forward for Alicia Salola to run onto. I got to speak to Alicia recently, and wow, what an impressive young woman she is. She was Karen Hills' first signing from outside of the Charlton ranks, the first player she got in from a contract from Spurs, her former club, and Salola was telling me all about the degree that she's undertaken in coaching management. So she's a very, very intelligent player, reads the game well, which is exactly what she's done there. Not gotten off the first pass, but picks up the pieces, and that will be a throw-in for Charlton. What can Brutton do here? A hooked ball into the penalty box, perhaps a little bit too heavy for Wynne on this occasion. It's Charlton just looking to click into gear in that attacking third and make McKeever work a little bit harder in the Everton goal. Darley forced to come inside with a great ball. Lays it out on the right-hand side. It's a first-time delivery into Tony Duggan. Her first touch is heavy, and that will be cleared by Salola. Good play, though, from the French international for Everton. She's a real hard worker in midfield and technically proficient as well. She came through the ranks at the academy at Lyon, who are a really real powerhouse in European football. So a player we can look forward to watching as this game unfolds. Charlton, though, will be happy, I think, with their endeavours in this opening quarter of an hour. And good defensive shape there to force the skipper into the offside trap. And we've got to talk about that defence, haven't we? They've been absolutely superb this season. Anna Philby and Hannah Godfrey, the centre-back pairing this afternoon. It's no mean feat to keep a clean sheet in football at any level, but to go over 800 minutes without conceding a goal is really, really impressive. And they haven't conceded a goal in this competition either, which I'm sure is an objective that Karen Hills would have set out for her side. It's a fantastic foundation to build off of. And Everton have only scored 10 goals so far this season, but when you have players like Tony Duggan and Hannah Bennison on the pitch, the latter was the club's record signing. She's considered a real talent, and she made her debut for Sweden, get this, a month after her 17th birthday. She was playing senior women's football at 15 years old, which is absolutely incredible. The Everton number 28. Oh, to be that talented. The foul there on Lucy Graham means that Everton have a chance to push bodies up the pitch. Gabby George plays it short to Turner.
Coming back. Next one, Slola. Next one, Mia.
The press from Charlton working really effectively. Their shape behind the ball, and they've done it again. They've picked up possession win though. Just needing to be a bit tidier with the ball so that Charlton can really, really capitalise on that hard work that they're doing. Really impressed by the organisation of Karen Hills' side. Turner's had a lot of touches for Everton. Tries to find Duggan, but that is read well by Skills. And for Charlton and Everton supporters tuned in this afternoon, don't forget that you can read today's matchday programme for free online on the Charlton website. There's a fantastic interview with Ella Rutherford inside that programme, as well as a really nice feature around the work going on at the Charlton Athletic Community Trust over the recent half term. A nice piece with Lois Hewham for you to read in there. As I say, it's available online. You can find it on the social media channels as well. Now, time for Charlton to do some defending. This is probably the most dangerous position. Everton have won a set piece so far in this game. Over on that left-hand side. It's a two-player wall. It's a good, decent delivery in, and the header comes in, and Duggan is just chasing to try and get a touch. But Charlton do what they need to do in the box. And the effort goes just wide. As I mentioned, there is FA Cup action taking place today. Liverpool women are currently trailing Arsenal 3-0, whilst Man United have taken the lead against local rivals Man City. It's fantastic to see the kind of encounters that get thrown up in the FA Cup. Durham are hosting Birmingham, while Southampton travel to Ipswich. Reading are playing West Ham at 2 o'clock, and it's the same kick-off time for West Brom versus Coventry United. Everton on the ball, looking to mount an attacking charge, and they're getting most of their leeway down that left-hand side, but to no avail as yet. Oh, that's great composure, great quality from Brutton there. Plays the ball back, and it's a long pass forward. And again, I've just mentioned it, the composure and decision making will be really, really important for Charlton this afternoon. You can see they're trying to get the ball down the channels, being positive, but of course the accuracy and weight of the pass is equally as important as the vision there. And Charlton just need to be a little bit more patient perhaps in their build-up play to carve open some clearer cut opportunities in this FA Cup tie. Good marking there by Rowe, supported by Ross. Great teamwork there. It's another long ball chipped down the channels. George just adjusting her body slightly to be able to turn. Duggan's done well there. The referee's blown up. I think the collision he feels should go the way to give Everton an advantage. Wants the free kick to be taken exactly where the foul was committed. Dave Lamport is the referee, as I mentioned earlier today, assisted by Andy Bennett and Ella Broad, and the fourth official, Robert Macy Ellis, husband of Sean Macy Ellis, the official who has broken many glass ceilings as a female official in the Premier League and at major international tournaments.
Well done, Winnie. Well done.
Seeing a real pattern of play emerging for Everton. Back four enjoying plenty of time on the ball. You can't help but feel, but Charlton are very, very happy to let them have it there. This is a good productive run by Robinson, but she's up-halted Christensen. The Everton skipper rejoined in January 2020, 11 years after starting her senior career with the Toffees. She will be desperate to lead her side into the next round and bring that four-game losing streak to an end. But they come up against a Charlton team in fantastic form, 10 games unbeaten. As Graham there looks in a great deal of discomfort. It was a robust challenge from Godfrey. The ball was there to be won. Nothing malicious in the challenge. But treatment is required. And this is a competition that for Charlton fans brings back memories of those glory years when Charlton made it to the FA Cup final 3 years in a row. In the April of 2003, when they lost 3-0 to Fulham. The same scoreline again a year later against Arsenal, but then in 2005, under Keith Bonas, it was third time lucky at Upton Park versus Everton. Eni Aluko's goal helped Charlton to lift the FA trophy. And guess who was a part of that squad? The Charlton Athletic manager, Karen Hills. You can see her relaying instructions to her team. 22 minutes played. It is Charlton 0, Everton 0. And it will be about these kind of moments, the organisation and the information that Hills and her coaching staff can relay. Concentration will be key against the side with the quality that Everton have got. It looks like play can resume. After a quick drinks break, the Charlton players reassemble and they need to get their shape and stay alert as well, because sometimes after a bit of a pause in play, you can't let that take your focus off the business that needs to be done. And the business that needs to be done is some defending right now. You can see the movement from Everton off the ball. It's taken to Duggan, but she's closely man-marked. It's both defences really nullifying each other at this stage of the tie. No real clear-cut chances for either side. The only one that really springs to mind is that scuffed effort. Maybe I don't do it the justice it deserves there. The fine strike by Katie Robinson. That was just shy of the target. Graham, composed on the ball, finds Tucker on that left-hand side. Tucker back to George. George's right-footed passes into acres of space on that left-hand side. Darley running into the area now. Can she pick out a pass? Great play. The overlap is there. The ball is whipped in. It's a decent delivery. It's a good header by Duggan, and that is a fantastic save by Eartha Cummings. She's a goalkeeper in fine form, and she needed to be there. That was some fantastic play from Everton. Their best attacking phase of the match so far. And they would have been 1-0 up if it hadn't been for the heroic diving save of Urfa Cummins. What a moment in this tie so far. It was a great overlap by Turner. And with pace, she whipped in a fantastic delivery. And Duggan in those scenarios, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, she's hitting the target, which she did. And should have been wheeling away in celebration had it not been for the good positioning and reaction of Cummings. More defending to do now. Everton have just turned things up a notch in the last couple of minutes. Over on the right-hand side now, they have a set-piece opportunity, perhaps a chance to put something from the training ground into action. It's a delivery that is headed away. The seconds are picked up. Everton drilling the ball forward, getting it back into a dangerous area on that left-hand side. It's another ball in. Kept alive. And drilled towards goal by number 17, Lucy Graham. A little siege on the Charlton goal there. But with 25 minutes on the clock, it's Charlton 0, Everton 0. And what a big, big save from the Charlton number 13. Scotland international picking up exactly where she left off at the international break. You need your goalkeeper in big moments, and she stepped up to the plate. Everton with the throw in. The sun is shining down on the Oakwood, and it's fantastic to see so many Charlton supporters and an Everton contingent as well joining us on Sunday afternoon. It's football for a fiver, which was great. But for those of you that have been unable to make it to the Oakwood, it's a pleasure to have your company here on Charlton TV as well. Let us know what you think of the game, who's standing out so far for you, as that left-hand side is becoming a really, really threatening outlet for Everton. A good delivery once more into the box, as Katie Robinson's able to just drive away and get her side a throw-in. And Georgia Fox will just take her time, perhaps sensing that Everton are on top of this game. Just taking the sting out of their flurry of attack. Lauren Broughton there, just stepping off and then looking to turn up the press when is most appropriate. We saw definitely in the opening 15 minutes that trap working really, really well for Charlton. I think it's something that Everton have smartened up to as the game has gotten on. And Charlton will be looking for other means of breaking down this Everton defence. Gabby George does well, surrounded by red shirts. She manages to find Darley. Darley with an intricate pass is read well by the Charlton defence. A hooked ball to Robinson. That's a lovely little turn. But the Everton defence deal with it comfortably. They look assured and they look confident. The Everton side, despite perhaps confidence being a little low after the 4 consecutive losses. Credit to Chris Roberts' side. I'm sure they've come here with a very watertight game plan, knowing that they're going to be in for a tough afternoon against this championship side. There might be a division separating the two. But if the opening 28 minutes are anything to go by, it highlights to you how competitive the English football pyramid is becoming. That's another good ball into the Charlton area, and it forces a fine header from Hannah Godfrey there. She needed to see that all the way. There's lots of intricate runs going in from the Everton attack. Runs off the ball, runs off the shoulder, which for a defender an absolute nightmare, and it's why positioning is so important, and Godfrey had that nailed on there, so she was able to glance the ball away. It does mean that Everton have a corner, as their tally of set-piece opportunities have just increased in the last 10 minutes or so. The delivery comes in towards the far post. It's cleared initially. And Brutton's clearance comes and ricochets off an Everton foot. The ball takes a heavy deflection. It will be a goal kick for Charlton.
She does that off you. Just that pass over to Hannah just a bit quicker so you can
Half an hour
inside.
approaching, and it's been the tight, edgy fifth round Emirates FA Cup contest that we expected. Charlton doing really well in the Championship, coming up against an Everton side at the wrong end of the FA Women's Super League. We knew it was going to be a good contest, and it has been so far, although neither side has been able to break the deadlock. Charlton sitting third in the Championship with 27 points. Got a busy month coming up in March, a trip to Sunderland, and then the league leaders Liverpool. If they can pinch some points there, that will be incredibly impressive, although it does look like perhaps the title might be a little bit out of reach. There's a battle going on for who will be runners-up in the Championship. And that's all before the next game here at the Oakwood on the 27th of March against Crystal Palace, and that is always a nice little local encounter. Can Charlton make something happen from this throw-in? It's going to be taken by Rowe. Rowe is setting her options, just looking at the movement in and around her then. Wynn was coming forward, but Everton again have got a good defensive shape. The options aren't the clearest for Rowe, and subsequently it's a short ball to Wynn. Wynn does well, chests it down, finds Brutton. Brutton manages to find Skills. Skills back to Brutton, tries to interweave her way and find a pass past Darley. And the ball comes in and it's gathered well by McKeever, dressed in the all-orange kit. As I say, she came through the ranks at Everton, was included in the England squad for the She Believes Cup. It's been part of Team GB as well, a very, very accomplished goalkeeper. Coming off her line confidently to smother the ball. Everton in possession once more. Throw-in taken quickly by Duggan. Finds Christensen. Duggan just charges back into the penalty area. Typical number 9 behaviour. They're wanting to get on the end of a cross, but that was too heavy from the delivery there. But you can rest assured that Duggan will be in and around that penalty area, looking to get any opportunity like we saw earlier with her header, which has been the best opportunity of the game so far, which forced Cummings into a great save. And that's a curling delivery there, and that has beaten Cummings. The deadlock is broken. 32 minutes played. Kenza Darley gives the Toffees the lead. We mentioned that that left-hand side had been a real outlet for Everton as the half wore on, and Cummings did so well earlier on in the game to deny Tony Duggan. But this time the cross-come shot makes its way ever so closely into the top right-hand corner, and it gives Everton the advantage here at the Oakwood. And that will be disappointing for Charlton. For Cummings backpedaling, doing all she could. But the angle that ball was going into the top right-hand corner, the French international gives her team the lead. And she's back on the ball now, chests it down. Beaten by Wynn on this occasion, but hustles it back and gets a touch. As I mentioned, a really technically gifted footballer, and one that's not afraid to work hard on and off the ball. Christensen puts Rowe under some pressure there. I'm not sure you'll ever see that in the textbook of defending, neither player wanting to give up the ball. battling away.
Over there. Come on, Nisha.
And that is something you could have been predicted before a ball had even been kicked. These two sides, they hustle and they work hard as Robinson charges towards goal. But will you look at that? She's surrounded by Everton shirts. Everton have worked really, really solidly as a unit in that defensive space. It's a short ball back. Cummings comes off her line to clear it well. Just wondering if Robinson was going to get into play there after that slightly loose first touch, but Everton recover well. Georgia Fox over on that left-hand side, trying to make something happen as a modern-day fullback. You've got to do your defensive duties, but you've also got to get involved in the attacks as well. That's well read by Charlton there, but Duggan wins back possession.
On the touch, on the touch!
And Darley, again, just manufacturing chance after chance for Everton on that left-hand side. They've won yet another free kick, and they're going to have to defend an Everton set piece. It's in these scenarios that you can't help but feel Charlton really missed the presence of Rachel Newborough. She captained the side on occasions. An exceptional defender who unfortunately picked up an injury in training, the dreaded ACL, and is undergoing surgery, I believe, but we wish her all the best because she is a massive, massive player and a fantastic character as well. But Charlton have characters throughout their squad and throughout their starting 11. A young team, but nevertheless one that is enjoying a really good season after going professional not too long ago, benefiting from that opportunity to train day in, day out. Ball is played towards the back stick. Duggan rises highest to get the header. And Charlton clear their lines. Megan Wynn on the counter-attack now. It's a heavy touch. It's going to be cleared by Turner. And you almost see a glimpse of it there when Wynn digs her heels in. Goodness me, she's quick. She has got some pace, and it's tormented many defences in the FA Women's Championship this season. Hopefully, it might cause the Everton defence a headache or two in this tie as it goes on. Lovely touch and composure from Smith. Ball to Skills, out wide to Win. She's got some space there. I'm wondering if she's going to drive forward. She instead passes it back to Skills. Back to Godfrey. Switch up of play, looking for Robinson over on that left-hand side, but it's read well. Robinson's touch is a good one. Finds Salola. Salola drives towards goal, picks out Robinson. Again, Robinson first time gets the shot away, but it's blocked. The seconds falls to Charlton. This is better from the Addicks. Can they find an equaliser before the break? Doesn't quite come off there. Better from Charlton. The opportunity to get some bodies forward. You've seen a bit more movement in and around that attacking third, which is promising, something to build on. With 38 minutes on the clock, Charlton do trail Everton in the 5th round of the FA Cup. Karen Hills said in the week that she wanted to put on an occasion for supporters and put herself against teams like Everton in the FA Women's Super League and see how they compare. And it's been an interesting contest so far. Charlton going toe-to-toe. You can see part of the game's strategy working, just perhaps wanting to create a little bit more in that attacking third. Wynn and Brutton combining. Everton are alert, they're sharp, they're snappy, they're pressing. Not giving Charlton any time to think about where they might want to place the ball or create a chance either. And that's a pull. By Salola. Salola's apologising to the ref, but not enough to escape a yellow card, and let's call that probably the most tactical yellow card there, as the space was beginning to open up on the right-hand side. Salola's taken her coaching badges and studying a degree in coaching as well. Very, very knowledgeable player. I had the fortune of speaking to her recently at a Young Addicks fans forum. She was fantastic. It was a real pleasure to have her company and to have young supporters asking her what it's like to be a professional footballer. Because let's not forget, it's not always been the case that the men's and the women's pathway has all been full-time, but now it is, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Young girls can join the club and go through the RTC into the development, and then ultimately with the ambition of being a part of the first team. And this is one such occasion that will inspire the youngsters here with us at the Oakwood and those watching across the country, the international addicts as well. The game has come such a long way since the last time Charlton won this competition back in 2005. Runners up in 2003 and 2007. It would be fantastic to create a little bit of history this season. But to do so, Charlton need to find an equaliser and perhaps can turn up the pressure in the final 5 minutes of this first half. Although, referee not happy with that. Didn't look like too much in it for me. But perhaps a bit too physical for the liking of the official. Gabby George will take for Everton. Just looking at her options, going to play it back. Everton happy to play the ball around the park, happy to let their defenders have it, look all composed on the ball. Whereas in the past, perhaps defenders were known to punt it long. Nowadays, the technical ability means that they look cool and calm under any sort of pressure. Gabby George has really impressed so far this game. Cummins rolls the ball out. Can Charlton create one clear-cut chance before the break? There are options on the bench should manager Karen Hills want to freshen things up at all. Holly Oldham, one of them. It was her strike that beat Gillingham earlier on in the competition in the third round. It was a horrible, horrible day back in December.
Winnie, in.
And Gillingham were a stubborn outfit. But a thunderous strike did the work there. As Danielle Turner just sees an opening to get a shot on target.
This is what we spoke about.
Just important for Charlton to cut out those opportunities, just to keep the defensive discipline. As Everton looking to push on the front foot, they have got their advantage. It's a slender one, but it's still one that they will look to build upon and take confidence from. They beat Huddersfield in the last round. And actually all of their goal scorers are on the bench today. Shows you all the quality that they have in their squad. Right, Charlton are further up the pitch, whether they'll look to box and pen Everton in here. You can certainly see Salola and Robinson trying to do that almost effectively, but Everton carry the ball away and Ghali's asking for it. But it's one back, Win. Rolls, turns her body back. And just not the accuracy of the pass there required from Charlton, and it's picked up. Duggan now plays it back. Good work from Skills, looking to atone from that loose pass. It's both teams just looking to get an edge over the other. It has been a tightly fought contest. I wondered in that occasion whether George would head the ball back to her keeper, but she was under some pressure, and pressure that has paid off for Charlton because they now have a goal kick. A throw-in rather, over on this right-hand side. As you can see the Charlton flag there, the team that never gives up, and you can be sure they are not going to be giving up in this second half if the scoreline remains like this. It's a small mountain to climb. They'll just be wanting to test the goalkeeper a little bit more. It's been relatively even in possession, but Everton have certainly looked the more dangerous in attack. Edging closer and closer to the half-time whistle. And it is still just that goal that separates the two teams. A goal scored after 33 minutes. Darley did ever so well, didn't she, to shift the ball onto her right foot, and she took the curling shot into the top corner. You did suspect it might be a goal or a strike like that to break the deadlock, given how both defences, and particularly the hard-working midfields, have nullified the attacking players in this match so far. It's been a really even and interesting mix-up. As over on the right-hand side now, the ball comes in. It's a diving header from the Charlton 22, Beth Rowe. Broughton putting George under pressure and forces a crunching tackle. Nothing given by the referee. Just two players coming together, and the ball is played long, direct, almost towards the corner flag. And now Everton will look to be the ones to box Charlton in. As we have played 45 minutes, we're just into injury time now. On the break, an opportunity for Karen Hills to relay some messages to her team using all of her managerial experience. This game is on a knife edge, plenty to be played for in the second half. And she will be telling her players to take all of that faith and all of that belief that they've accumulated on their 10-game unbeaten run to manifest some opportunities and to draw level. And who knows, maybe even go one goal further. Chris Roberts, meanwhile, will be asking his team to demonstrate the professionalism required. And there we have it. That is the first half done and dusted. One goal separates the two teams. It was scored after 33 minutes. Kenza Darley, the French international, breaking the deadlock with a shot from distance. Her right-footed effort curled beyond Urfa Cummins, who pulled off a fine save earlier on in the game after Everton did some great work down the left-hand flank. A great ball into the area, found Tony Duggan. Her header was goal-bound, but for the outstretched palm of Cummings. All to be played for in the second half. I do hope you will join us on Charlton TV. At the break, though, it's Charlton 0, Everton 1. welcome back to the FA Cup fifth round tie between Charlton and Everton here at a sunny Oakwood. If you couldn't be with us in the first half, or you missed a really close, intriguing encounter, Karen Hills' side on a 10-game unbeaten run started the game well, toe-to-toe with an Everton team full of international pedigree. Despite the FA Women's Super League side being on a rotten losing streak, they put on a really professional, assured display whilst becoming more dominant as the half wore on. Some great work down the left-hand side, created a delivery for Tony Duggan to get on the end of. Her goal-bound header was palmed away sensationally by Urfa Cummings, and talking of sensational, well, the deadlock was broken eventually after half an hour by Kenza Tarley. Her first goal for Everton as she cut in from the left-hand side before delivering a curling effort into the top right-hand corner. As the players begin to make their way onto the field of play, I can bring you up to speed with some results elsewhere in the FA Cup. Arsenal are through to the quarterfinals. They will join Chelsea in the hat for the next round. They successfully beat off competition from Liverpool, a 4-0 demolition away from home. Meanwhile, with 71 minutes on the clock, despite taking an early lead, Man United trail 3-1 to Man City. Bragging rights looking like it's going to go the way of the Blues over in Manchester. But for now, though, our attention is focused on who will be joining those teams in the hat for the quarter-finals. Everton, looking really assured and professional with their first half display, will be under no illusions to expect a fight back from Charlton. It was something that manager Chris Roberts made acutely aware during the week, that the FA Cup is a special competition and you need to almost forget the difference in the leagues when it comes to this 90 minutes. He said that he wanted his team to manage the game and to gain momentum and stamp their authority. They want to do their talking on the pitch. Well, they certainly did that to a certain degree in the first half. But likewise, Karen Hills wanted to use today's tie as an opportunity to see what it would be like for her side to come up against teams with the quality and the international pedigree of Everton week in, week out in the FA Women's Super League. For Charlton supporters joining us that perhaps don't know too much about our visitors, Everton returned to the Super League in 2017 after the withdrawal of Notts County, but they were one of the founding members of the division, one of 8 teams in 2011, a season in which they finished third behind Arsenal and Birmingham. They've got a good history in this competition as well. They won it back in 2010, and whilst they might be at the wrong end of the table right now, they do have a 7-point cushion on Birmingham, and so perhaps the FA Cup is a platform to build a positive narrative on what has been a difficult campaign. The Addicks are back out on the pitch. What a big 45 minutes ahead for Karen Hills' young side. Doesn't look like any changes have been made at the break, but I'll keep an eye on that as the second half begins. Charlton playing in their 4-2-3-1 formation with Urfa Cummings in goal, with a flat back four of Beth Rowe, Anna Philby, Hannah Godfrey and Georgia Fox. Mia Ross, Kia Skills just ahead of them, with Megan Wynn, the skipper Laura Brunton, Alicia Solola and Katie Robinson further up top. A big team talk for a big 45 minutes. Games don't get much bigger than this for Charlton. The prospect of making it through to the quarter-finals, the chance to go toe-to-toe with an FA Women's Super League side, to play against internationals, to play against superstars, those that have played for their country, have played in massive tournaments. There are European winners in this Everton team. Lionesses as well, as we're underway for this second half. Let's see what Charlton can do. Throw in taken. Christensen and Duggan looking to combine. But the hustle in midfield goes the way of the hosts as Wynn plays the ball back. Direct play through a middle of a very congested pitch. Doesn't work for Charlton there. And Everton can mop up play as the ball finds its way back at the feet of the keeper. A long ball drilled forward. And Philby will eat those up all afternoon. She's been a fantastic performer for Charlton this season. And the defence really has been a standout feature for Karen Hills' side. They went 862 minutes without conceding before that draw 2 weeks ago away against Coventry. Conceded the 1 goal so far in this game, and that's unfortunate. Their pass to Fox just mismanaged, and Leonie Meyer will be able to take the throw in. 2 times Bundesliga champion, won the Euros in 2013 and was a part of the Rio Olympics team. That is the kind of quality that Charlton are up against and will be relishing the opportunity to be up against. There is a vision here and there is ambition to make it to the summit of the England's women's football pyramid, to be playing against the likes of Everton week in, week out. It's a test, and there's going to be a test again, as we saw in the first half. Everton getting a number of free kicks in this similar sort of dangerous position. It's a 2-player wall. It's a long searching ball. It's headed by Christensen back towards us. Melee sort of players in and around the penalty spot, and Everton appealing for the corner. Christensen and Duggan in particular felt their side should have had the advantage there, but it goes the way of Charlton. Cummings plays it short. A longer direct ball, and Robinson puts Everton under some pressure to win a throw-in. 8 Charlton players were on international duty over the last 2 weeks, which is absolutely fantastic. Anna Philby, Megan Wynn, Elise Hughes away with Wales. And I mentioned her for Cummins. She made her first senior debut for Scotland during that period. Bian Sampson, who's on the bench for Charlton, flew to Jamaica and helped her team gain 2 victories against Bermuda and Grenada. And meanwhile, Katie Robinson on the pitch right now, featured for the under-23s, and Georgia Fox and Natalie Negri as well. So much talent, so much to look forward to if you're a Charlton supporter, to see these players develop and build not only their experience, but build it at Charlton as well as part of a bigger picture to climb the pyramid. What a talent Katie Robinson is. Scored on her debut in the last round of this competition against Plymouth. A 6-0 victory there, and when you get that call up from your manager, it's up to you to take it, and Robinson has done that. Perhaps could she be a hero again this afternoon and make it consecutive FA Cup ties? We'll have to wait and see. But Brutton there putting her marker under pressure, receives the ball back from the throw-in, passes it back to Wynn. Duggan, what a player. She's at down one end causing trouble, and then she's backtracking, being a right nuisance to stop Charlton from creating any type of free-flowing, fluid play. Everton have done a really good job marking the Charlton skipper this afternoon. As soon as Brutton gets on the ball, she's surrounded by players. They sense how influential the captain can be in that attacking third, not giving the opportunity for her to pick out a pass or to see the players perhaps moving in and around her, and it's worked very effectively for the visitors so far today. And a big thank you to Everton fans joining us on our live stream. It's great to have you with us on Charlton TV. What have you made of your side's afternoon so far? I'm sure the FA Cup is going to be a massive priority for Everton fans. They're on the attack once more now the ball at Duggan's feet. Switches up feet to try and craft some space, but she's shadowed closely, and then the ball on the outskirts of the Charlton area. Some great play from Everton. It's really beginning to click into formation. But Charlton's standing strong, looking organised, getting bodies behind the ball. I said in the first half, it felt like both defences were really nullifying and cancelling each other out. But Everton beginning to purr with a bit of confidence, as you would expect with the calibre of players that they've got. This is a great opportunity for Charlton to test themselves, and I think it's a test they've stood up to. We've got plenty of time to be played here at the Oakwood. As Charlton look for an equaliser. Duggan turns her body well there to pick out Christensen. Christensen spins, but it's intercepted by Charlton. Salola on the ball now. And the lines are cleared. George's aerial capabilities there, beating Brutton on the ball. George is such a good physical player. She's strong, but she's also nimble and agile. She's been a bit of a rock for the Everton defence so far this afternoon. Is also a ball carrying player as well, so she can pick out a pass. Another long ball forward by Charlton, and Brutton, who's been playing in that kind of centre-forward role, again, just absolutely sandwiched by Everton there. As soon as she looks like she's getting a sniff, they're charging in on the Charlton captain. She's been leading the line and working hard to create something in support with Salola and Robinson. It's a bit of a front three for the Addicks. As you can hear, a young contingent of fans cheering on Charlton this afternoon, which is fantastic. It's all about inspiring the next generation of players, of supporters. It's wonderful to see. It's what the FA Cup is all about. A very, very special competition. And it's a strange one because Charlton have played their quarter-final already in this campaign, with COVID impacting upon domestic features and fixtures. Charlton travelled to Brighton only a few months ago. It was a Fliss-Gibbons strike from the Seagulls which knocked Charlton out of the competition. Again, a side with so much quality in the league above. The fine margins that come to play. That's a shot from distance there from Everton. The space just opening up for number 28. Hannah Bennison. I've mentioned her on a few occasions. The club's record signing, looking to get on the score sheet and double Everton's lead. But with 54 minutes on the clock, it is Charlton 0, Everton 1. Robinson, the man mark there, gives Everton a chance to attack on goal. And the sunshine is so bright here. It's really hard to distinguish now almost between the colour of the shirts, congestion, but a signal of the work rate and endeavour going in by both sides here. This is a proper FA Cup battle. Also an indication of the shape in which both teams are playing with. No massive, massive gaps are opening up across the pitch. Although Charlton will look to try and make one happen there over on the right-hand side, but it's read well. George now squares it. Centre-backs just exchanging passes there before a long ball forward into a bit of space, but space that is read, managed and dealt with well by Beth Rowe, another player that was on the score sheet in the last round of this competition. And with 55 minutes on the clock, it looks like we're going to have our first change of the afternoon. Hannah Bennison coming off for the visitors. And number 19, Anna Anvegard, coming on, a goal scorer in Everton's last FA Cup game. And it's a double substitution. Lucy Graham off, Claire Emsley on. 2 players that have scored in this competition before, and perhaps looking to help Everton sharpen up in that attack, because they have been more dominant as the tie has unfolded, enjoying possession in the attacking third, but being reduced to very little in terms of meaningful opportunities. The goal was a fantastic strike, and Eartha Cummins did pull off a brilliant save in the opening period tonight, Tony Duggan. And they will have an opportunity to get involved in the action early on, as Everton have a corner. And they will fill the box with bodies, just hoping for a delivery to suit. Duggan's making her presence known just in front of Cummings, but the delivery is nudged away by Wynne, I think. It'll be a throw-in for the visitors. German international will take it for the Toffees. Finds the goal scorer. Darley gets the ball back, whips it in. It's cleared at the first attempt. Everton just picking up the seconds, and Duggan hooks the ball forward. She gets it back again. That was a brave bit of defending there, and I think it's Izzy Christensen who might have come off slightly worse after that. And will require some treatment. Full throttle, full-blooded commitment from Everton. A heavy knock. It looks like the player is fit and able to continue. Just some discussion going on as to where the ball will be picked up. I think it'll be a dead ball scenario. A drop kick to be fought over. And the skipper's leading the queue to, to do so. Negotiations going on. Not quite sure what the referee is electing to do. Perhaps for Darley to just pass the ball back. We shall wait and see. Referee David Lamport just ushering the Charlton players away. Drops it to Darley. It's whipped him. And the seconds now is always seeming to fall at the feet of an Everton player. As another cross comes in, and Duggan looks to get an instinctive strike away there. Doesn't hit it as sweetly as she would have liked, and Cummins off her line to smother out that attack. And I think the Charlton number 13 will just take her time with this. Just encourages her teammates to go further up the pitch. Charlton haven't enjoyed much action down that end in this second half. The goal kick has been taken. Broughton fighting and scrapping to get on the end of it. And Charlton under pressure, in possession. Hook another long ball forward. Robinson does well. Some space opening out on that right-hand side. The pass just not strong enough to find the run of Wynne, but the attack is still very much alive. Broughton turns again. The battle of the skippers there, and it's Christensen that comes away with it, and there's a slight nudge on her. Using all of her experience there, the Everton skipper, before giving her teammates a bit of a round of applause, a rallying cry to not loosen things, to not stop working hard. This Charlton team will make them pay otherwise. And we are going to see the first Charlton change. The skipper comes off. Lauren Broughton makes way for number 16. Elise Hughes, who will be a name Everton supporters are very well aware of. She came through Everton's RTC before making 22 appearances for the team. She elected to come to Charlton, a player that Chris Roberts describes as very effective. Well, let's hope she's effective from a Charlton point of view in finding them an equaliser with half an hour still to be played. Lauren Broughton playing in that forward role, getting the minutes under her belt after a spell out injured. Just fantastic to see her in a red shirt. Captain's armband has been handed to Anna Philby, or as I like to call her, The Rock, because she is just so accomplished in the heart of the Charlton defence. Everton on the ball once again. It's the goal scorer, Darley, switches up play over to that left-hand side. There's space to be run into. And that is what the winger does. And the ball falls nicely to Darley there. She gets the shot away, and they looked like there was plenty of power on it, which made the intervention all the more important. Everton applying the pressure. Charlton just need to defuse it. Salola looking to find a teammate. Robinson with all the intent but unable to make contact. And that direct ball is becoming a really good outlet now for Everton. But the shape and the organisation from Charlton is still really resolute. You can see a number of the Charlton players warming up as well. The likes of Becky Jane with all her experience, Vianne Sampson, Holly Olding, all available. Should Karen Hills want to make any more changes? Darley in on goal on that right-hand side. Important tackle there by Georgia Fox. Doesn't give an inch, but Charlton do now have to protect their goal from another corner taken short. Nice little interchange of passes. The left-foot delivery comes in and it finds the substitute. And Vigard would have taken a great deal of ability there to be able to twist the body and get the shot on target, but the effort fails to trouble Eartha Cummings in the Charlton goal. It's always nice when Charlton and Everton come face to face in the FA Cup, because it was, of course, back in 2005 when Charlton beat Everton at Upton Park in the FA Cup final. Eni Aluko, who we all know enjoyed such an incredible playing career. Her goal was the difference on that occasion. At the moment, it's Kenza Darley's goal that is the difference between these two teams. Can Charlton summon up a response? Alicia Salola on the ball. Marshalled by Everton players. And it ends up with Godfrey playing back to Cummings. Cummings with the kick. That should be a foul. Charlton get the decision there. Megan Finnegan all over Katie Robinson. And as the clock ticks by, these kind of dead ball scenarios are going to become even more important for Charlton. Skipper Philby stands over the ball. Red shirts head up the pitch. It's taken short. Georgia Fox, and that just peters out to nothing there. And I do tend to think in those scenarios, particularly if you're chasing a lead, it's always good to perhaps go a bit more direct, but it's important as well, that being said, to stay true to your principles. And Charlton look to play it short and perhaps break down Everton in more of an open free play style. A reset now. Cummings rolls the ball to Godfrey, gets it back. Plays it out this time to Philby. Philby taking a few touches. Plays it long and it's just intercepted again. But Georgia Fox just has an unfortunate slip there and Everton win back possession. Bengali done a really effective job in the middle of the park for Everton. Might not be the most glamorous elements of the job, but she's made sure that the visitors have been ticking along nicely in this FA Cup game. Still plenty of time to be played here at the Oakwood. 65 minutes on the clock. It's Charlton 0, Everton 1. That goal in the first half by Kenzadali. Still the difference here.
Time.
Charlton, third in the Championship, take on Everton in the FA Women's Super League as a long searching ball into the box has to be nodded clear by Charlton. We will see another change for the visitors. Leonie Mera coming off for the Toffees. To be replaced by Poppy Pattinson. And I just love to hear that sound of the crowd. Normally it's a different kind of sound, but what's wonderful about the women's game in particular is how accommodating it is for families and young supporters. And there is a contingent who have been full of good cheer and good voice for the Addicks throughout this game. The potential stars of the future. Encouraging their team forwards. Hoping, sensing perhaps, that there might still be a little bit of magic to come in this FA Cup tie. We've seen some magic, I think, in terms of the Urfa Cummins save in the first half and the strike that's ultimately proved to be the difference. As we have another change. The fourth official's been the busiest man in the last couple of minutes. Karen Hills bringing on Sophie Quirk as Charlton chase this game. Quirk sprinting onto the pitch, and her first position will be a defensive one as Everton have the throw-in. Cleared at the first ask by the Addicks. Turner hooks the ball towards goal. That's not troubling anyone, least of all Cummings, who's asking for a football, although I can see a couple of helpers in the crowd sprinting off to gather the ball to assist the Charlton number 13. But they don't need to worry. The ball is on the pitch. Anyone will do. Now we've got to wait for the other one to be rolled off. And we're back underway. Duggan now towards the byline, tries to get a first-time ball into the box. Everton recycling play really, really effectively. And it's a dribble pass, but it's a dangerous one that Hannah Godfrey had to be aware of, with the forward just lurking and shadowing behind her there. It's in those kind of situations, it looks like it's relatively straightforward, but it requires a great deal of concentration and focus. In the second half, Everton have been the more dominant, showing their pedigree and quality, their FA Women's Super League quality, let's not forget. A founding member of the division. They've gone back into a fully pro model, which is fantastic. As an advocate and massive supporter of women's football in generally, I'm delighted that both these two teams are full-time. How much the game has grown since they went head-to-head in the FA Cup final back in 2005. We all know, unfortunately, in 2007, when Charlton lost to Arsenal in the FA Cup final, the likes of Casey Stoney, Pauline Cope, Katie Chapman, massive, massive names in this game, all ended up going pursuing their careers abroad. But Charlton, whilst disbanded, have been building their future back up again, and now the future is bright with the new owner, Thomas Sangab. One of the first things he did under his stewardship was bring Charlton women under the club's umbrella, and he matched it as well with this full-time professional model. It's a huge statement of intent, and the girls have delivered. Certainly after a really good start to the season, the team in recent months, that 10-game unbeaten run around Christmas and then sustaining it subsequently, a showing and reaping the rewards of that. A young team, a hard-working team, and I think they've put on a good show of that this afternoon, as Alicia Salola there showing all the commitment you would expect. Just clashes heads and will require some treatment. It looked like a nasty one. And what I love in that situation is Hannah Godfrey dashing over to make sure her teammate's all right. That's the kind of camaraderie and teamwork that is the DNA and the foundation of this team. She's now trotting over to probably get some water and fluids on board, because although it's a beautiful day, there's not a cloud in the sky here in southeast London. It is a little bit chilly, so important to take on some refreshment as Salula is treated by the doctor. I mentioned it earlier, but recently, I think it was last week, well, it was part of a young addicts forum in which Alicia was a part of, and she was answering questions from young supporters about her role models, her influences. We got to find out about her love and passion for football, about her dad, who's been a really influential figure in her playing career, a coach as well. Then she was part of a grassroots team, the only girl in a boys team, which is probably a familiar story for most professional female footballers. And now she is a role model to those that follow Charlton, to those that she coaches, to those that she engages with on her degree programme. A real star both on and off the pitch, and hopefully she can continue, and hopefully it's not too serious a head injury, but of course those do need to be treated with the greatest degree of severity. The concussion rules, I think, are very, very important, so we will see if Karen Hills is forced into a change. As we wait for Elise Hughes to get into this game, it'll be important to see how many touches she gets on the ball and what impact she can save. That's a marvellous save by Charlton, and the lead is doubled in what unfortunate circumstances, because that was yet again another magnificent save originally from Eartha Cummins, and it came a bit like a bolt out of the blue. Tony Duggan over on that left-hand side with a quality ball found the run and path of her teammate, and the header initially point-blank save from Eartha Cummins, but the gamble was taken, and then the second goes in, and the FA Women's Super League side looks set to secure their space in the next round into the quarter-finals of the FA Cup, unless Charlton can produce something special, and let's not rule that out. There is still over 15 minutes to be played here at the Oakwood. Really unfortunate. The cold-mannered nature of that, I think, coming off of that little period of injury time, maybe Charlton just not necessarily as lively to the threat that Duggan poses. And as I mentioned, and I've said a number of times throughout this game, Duggan just covers every blade of grass. Her industry and work rate leading the line. She'll create something out of nothing, and not only can she spearhead an attack in that number 9 role, but as we saw with that goal over on the left-hand flank, she can produce a cross as well. And it has been a cross, and it's been work on that left-hand side that's undone Charlton on 2 occasions this afternoon. Corner comes in. It's a deep delivery, punched away by Cummins, then headed by Hughes. Hooked away, and now Robinson. Can she get past Turner? No, she can't. Turner hoofs the ball away, and a massive shout out to the supporters here at the Oakwood. 457 watching today. We appreciate it, and we appreciate your company. If you're tuned in, maybe you're an international addict watching the game, an Everton fan tuning in to see how your team gets on. It's been great to have you with us. Everton looking really composed. And I think you have to credit them for that, because it could be easy to, on a 4-match losing streak, to perhaps feel a bit low on confidence. But it's exactly as manager Chris Roberts prepared them for. They've come up against a tough Charlton side. They've had to battle, they've had to scrap, but they've taken their moments when they've been afforded them as well. And that left-hand side where we see the ball now has proven to be effective. And now, from an Everton point of view, it will be about managing the tie, and from Charlton it will all be about trying to create something special and halving the deficit as soon as possible. Ambergard scoring again in the FA Cup. Impact substitution. I mean, you've got quality to build upon and to come and make a difference for you in a tight game that is on a knife edge. Roberts, the interim manager, will be very, very pleased with that. He said about a goal coming as quickly as possible from Charlton, and it's direct play towards the corner flag. The decision doesn't go the way of the Addicks, though. It's a throw-in for Everton. Less than 15 to go here. We're into the final quarter. Darley does well. Ball out onto the right-hand side. This time it's Duggan. Duggan, we're across from the right-hand side on this time. Ball just bobbling about. Just waiting for a red shirt to get under it and get onto it, which is exactly what Robinson is doing now on that right-hand side. Hughes with a clever little flick. A bit too clever, perhaps, and play is picked up by Everton. On that left-hand side again. Ball whipped in, it's a decent delivery, and it falls nicely to Gabby George. Her first effort is denied by a decent block, and then the second as well. The Everton centre-back could have made it game, set and match there had it not been for some heroic Charlton defending. If you thought this tie was done and dusted, no, not between these two teams. Plenty of action to enjoy between now and full time. Left-hand side again, cross again, deflected. And perhaps sensing a bit of tiredness creeping into the Charlton team, Everton decide to throw on another substitution. And it's Valerie Galvin coming on for the visitors. She scored twice in their last outing in the FA Cup. Chris Roberts may be thinking that she can come on and make a difference, just to ease any nerves from an Everton point of view as we enter the last phases of this game. Fox, looking at our options, wants to try and take it quickly, but there's not too much on for her.
Clear it, Kira. Clear it, Kira.
Looks for Hughes. It escapes her, but not Robinson. Robinson cuts it back, and play is picked up, back-heeled by Christensen as Everton now drive down that right-hand side. That is a wonderful ball to the substitute. Galvin switches up feet, plays it to Christensen, the skipper, who back-heels it but doesn't get enough contact on the ball. So Beth Rowe is able to pick up play for Charlton. Charlton keeping up the work rate, keeping up the industry, but perhaps the difference just has been that clinical edge in the final third. The business end of the pitch.
Ready to go, Robbo. Ready to go, Quirky.
And Charlton just need to perhaps be alert to the opportunity that there will be maybe one more chance to halve this deficit, to make something happen, and then to be able to put the pressure on the visitors into those final stages. Karen Hills looking to do all she can at this stage. Replaces Alicia Solola, who's put in an epic shift this afternoon and quite rightly is warmly applauded by the crowd here, and is replaced by Lois Hukam. Christensen for Everton. Hooking the ball ambitiously. It's read well by the Charlton defence. Ooh, little collision there. Probably looked worse. Worse than it was in the full throttle nature of the FA Cup. It's been a really decent tie. Really decent tie. A good advert for the women's pyramid as a whole. Sometimes you see these score lines in games and they can be a bit dampening. But what we've seen here is a side full of confidence, coming up against a team a division above and going toe to toe. Karen Hills will be proud of her side's endeavours. And likewise, perhaps, Chris Roberts, this is a foundation for his side to build upon. That's a long-range effort there. A cheeky one from the substitute. But Eartha Cummings is alert to it and takes the goal kick. Hughes gets an important touch on, and Robinson's in here. Can Robinson get the touch? Can she slice the deficit? Good goalkeeping, not once, but twice. The ball is out, and Hughes has noticed the keeper on a line. The ball is still in play here for Charlton. Oh, that was ever so close. Hughes, Robinson's Hukan, all getting in on the action there, but credit the Everton goalkeeper. Off her line, making a difference, as Robinson is aiming to do there, but good defending from Everton, standing firm, wanting to defend that clean sheet as much as possible.
Let's go, Lo. Yes, Lo. Yes, Lo. Tight, 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 tight.
Space on that left-hand side again for Everton. Ball comes in. It almost becomes Everton's third there. You can see the substitute, Claire MZ, with her head in her hands, probably realises what a good chance that was, made good connection. Probably should have found the target to put this game to bed with almost 5 minutes of play to be had. Maybe we will be in for some last gasp drama here at the Oakwood. You never quite know with the FA Cup. Strange things happen. It's Cummings' goal kick. Almost rebounds right back into her half. Everton scrapping to win possession. That's good play by Charlton though. Who can? To Elise Hughes. Good play from Charlton here. A last resurgence as they chase the game.
Good. Get it, come on. Pressure.
Good work by Skills. Plays it back to the skipper. And there's Duggan again, just doing what she does, putting her body on the line. I think the ball took a bit of a blow to her stomach there. She's put on a shift, as have all the Everton players, as have all the team. Like I say, it's been a really decent contest to watch unfold.
Hold on, Fox. Pressure up. Next one, Fox. Next one.
Less than 5 to go here at the Oakwood. And it's the brace scorer from the last round on the ball now. Tries to get her cross in. Blocked by Philby. It's another corner for Everton. One they can afford to take their time with. They just manage proceedings before going back to Merseyside, it seems, through to the quarterfinals. And that's a long, ambitious effort once more from Everton. Seems they kind of seen a bit of space or an opening on goal. They're getting the shot away.
Good, Kira.
And they're just looking after the ball now.
Next one, quickie.
And whilst this might conclude a February for Charlton, there's a busy, busy March coming up. Next weekend, it's back to championship action, a long old journey to Sunderland. And then after that, a trip to Liverpool on the 13th. What a game that will be. Liverpool sitting pretty off the championship. Got plenty of points behind them. They've been knocked out of the FA Cup today, beaten 4-0 by Arsenal. But a chance again for Karen Hills' side to go and take on a quality team and look to reduce the gap between the two sides. And then on the 27th, we are back here for the visit of our little neighbours, our friends down the road, Crystal Palace. Always a great battle when we welcome the Eagles. Everton win the decision from the referee there. And McKeever will take the goal kick. Just taking her time in doing so, as you would imagine, as she is entitled to. Ball goes over the halfway line. It's headed between Charlton players. Hooked forward. Can a player in a red shirt just get the ball down and play? Because that is when Charlton are at their best. So used to seeing their free-flowing style of attacking football. It's been a different kind of performance today. Plenty of positives to take, I'm sure, as the advantage is played. And Quirk can charge forward down that right-hand side. Tries to get the cross in, but is marshalled by Pattinson, and it will be a goal kick for Everton. It looks like the quarterfinals will await Everton. Whilst Charlton will go back to concentrating on their league endeavours. The full time between United and City in Manchester went the way of the Blues. Man City coming back from a goal behind to beat their rivals 4-1. Meanwhile, there's plenty of goals between West Brom and Coventry. Coventry, who drew with Charlton just before the international break, have a 3-1 lead away at West Brom, whilst all the other games in this competition are currently goalless at half-time.
Good. Yes, Robbo. Yes, Robbo. Go with it, Robbo. On the tuck, on the tuck, on the tuck. Yes, Robbo.
Charlton get the throw in. Referee just pointing that out. And we will have 3 additional minutes here at the Oakwood, the home of VCD Athletic, but one that has become a bit of a fortress for Charlton this season. They've played some outstanding championship football, and they've played some good football here this afternoon as well. have looked solid defensively, but you have to credit the quality that Everton have brought to proceedings. They've worked hard. They knew they were in for a tough game. The strength of their side, the depth of their squad with the substitutions has made it a really enjoyable game to bring to you on Charlton TV. I hope you have enjoyed our coverage. It's been a pleasure to bring it to you. And don't forget, if you haven't been able to join us here today, do come back on the 27th of March for that game against Crystal Palace. Should be a cracking encounter. It's always good to get bragging rights over your local rivals. And the game just petering out now. Expert game management from the visitors. They knew when to turn the heat up, and they know when to cool it down as well. The experience of the likes of Christensen and Duggan is so valuable in these kind of games. I'm sure they didn't fancy a trip to inform Charlton Athletic, but they've managed the tie well. A fantastic goal by Kenza Dali in the first half, and a second from the substitute, Anna Anvegard. Her goal scoring form in this competition continues. Scored in each round so far. It's such a shame that the initial save by Cummings fell to the Swedish international. He doesn't need a second opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net. Throw in taken by Everton. Ball falling to the goal scorer. And Duggan, even now, in the dying phases, getting a sprint on and trying to press the pass. Hukan does well. Really, really well to find Hughes. And Everton have done that so well in the middle of the park, haven't they? Just nibbling away at any bit of possession, getting their body in the way, using their physicality as well as their ability to read the game. As Fox takes the throw in to Philby. Philby to Godfrey, out over on the right-hand side now. Mia Ross back on the ball. Everton's shadowing and shape enough to narrow up the field of play. Cummings off her line, collects the ball, rolls it. Again, Charlton sticking to their principles even at this late phase of the game. Philby with a long ball. And whilst there are willing runners, it'd be too much for Hughes to get on the end to this occasion. And that is the full-time whistle here at the Oakwood. Charlton Athletics' run in the FA Cup comes to an end. They are knocked out of the competition by FA Women's Super League side Everton. A goal on either side of the half, enough to send the Toffees through to the quarter-finals. It took a stunning strike after 33 minutes from Kenza Dali to break the deadlock. Dali scoring her first goal for the club after cutting in on her left-hand side and curling a shot into the top right-hand corner. Charlton going toe-to-toe with their opposition throughout. Conceded again after 73 minutes. Some great work down the left-hand side by England Lioness Tony Duggan. Her ball into the box. Found the path of substitute Anna Anvegard, whose header was initially saved by Urfa Cummings, who had another wonderful afternoon in between the sticks for the Addicks. Unfortunately, her effort fell right back to the Swedish international, who nodded the ball to double Everton's lead and to seal the tie. They are through to the next round of the competition, and we wish them all the best, not only in the FA Cup, but in the FA Women's Super League as well. It's been a really interesting and entertaining contest to bring to you. And okay, the unbeaten run comes to an end for Charlton, but my goodness, what a run it's been. Absolutely exceptional. And every player who featured in the starting 11, who came off the bench and involved in the squad as well, can have their heads held high for the account that they have put on against a side the division above. Plenty to build off upon and little time to rest up and reflect, because we are back in action next weekend, a long old trip to Sunderland. We wish the Addicks well for that game. We will look back at the highlights now, but thank you so much for joining me, Charlotte Richardson, on Charlton TV. It finishes here at the Oakwood, Charlton 0, Everton 2.
Good. Lower angle, Skillsy. Stay in, Skillsy, stay in. Back. Pin it, retain. One job.